In this video, I want to talk to you about the law of large numbers. The law of large numbers states that with enough trials, the theoretical probability and the experimental probabilities should be the same. What is enough trials? Well, it depends, but probably somewhere north of 50, closer to 100 trials should give us enough data to find that the theoretical probability, what should happen, and the experimental probability, what does happen, should be roughly the same value. So we know that in theory, I'll put this in red, in theory, the probability of flipping a coin and getting a heads is 1 out of 2 or 50%. And we know the probability of getting a tails is 1 out of 2 or 50%. So it should be 50-50, right? What happens if we actually flip a coin 10 times? Well, here you can see I did that, and these were my results. After the first 10 trials, my probability of getting a heads was 3 out of 10 or 30%, and my probability of getting a tails was 7 out of 10 or 70%. So what I got was not the same. But with enough trials, these percentages should close in on 50-50. So I did it 10 more times, and now I've got 6 more heads with the 3 that I had initially, so that would be 9 out of 20 or 45%. And over here, I've got 11 tails out of 20 or what we would know as 55%. And so on and so forth, we continue this. Probability of heads now is 5, 10, 14 out of 30. And the probability of tails is 16 out of 30. So again, we would expect it to be 15 and 15 if it was perfect theoretical. You can see we're getting closer. I do it another 10 trials. The probability of getting heads was 18 out of 40. And the probability of getting tails, adding in these new 6, would be 22 out of 40. So now I'm further away from 50-50. I do another 10 trials, my probability of getting heads. I add on 7 more. That puts me at 25 out of 50. And probability of getting a tails, tack on 3 more, 25 out of 50. So it took 50 trials, but after 50 trials, my heads and tails were what they were supposed to be. Again, in an experiment, you don't always get what you're supposed to get. You get what you get. But the law of large numbers says if you do enough trials, if you keep doing the experiment over and over and over and over again, eventually what should happen, 50-50, will happen. You just need to do it enough times.